Okay, I think we can get started. If someone else joins, we can summarize. For this week, we have several things to comment or raise. Murali has been working on a new language, on a new runtime. In this case, it's Java. Also adding support for AWS Kinesis. He will talk about that a little bit later, but I wanted to get a small highlight of the project in these 2 weeks that we haven't done this call. So let me share the screen a little bit, and I will give this update. Let's go over the pull request, because we have had some close in the last few days that are a little bit important. For example, we have added a Circle CI for the integration tests. It has been working well for a few days or a week, I think now. So we will probably disable Travis, that is the CI that we were using, mostly because it's not very user-friendly. For example, with Circle CI, you have the opportunity to SSH to the machine, so it's much easier to debug possible issues. And so I like it. So I like it very much. So if you haven't tried, I encourage you to do so. Also, this is the one that Murat has been working, the Java support for Prometheus, with Prometheus. He will be talking about that a little bit later. And this one is also very interesting. Now it's going to be people using Kubeless is going to be able to use an URL for functions. The good thing about this is that you can avoid this 1 megabyte limitation that we currently have since the CRD, the object, the Kubernetes object containing the function should contain the code. With this option, what will contain is an URL pointing to a certain public file or zip file that could contain several files, several dependencies, or several binaries, whatever you want to include. So that's nice. And I think that's mostly all. The other ones are a little bit more small. Yeah. And regarding the open pull requests, we have other 2 different languages added here. The first one is C# scripting. It's called Rosling. It's slightly different than C# and .NET. That is also here. This one is almost ready to be landed. I'm going to review it probably today, tomorrow. We will be able to land it in the next few days. So we will be releasing the next version of Kubeless with probably 2 new different runtimes, which is great. Also, here we have your pull request clause about cloud events. Do you want to give a quick update on it?
Yeah, so the first version I checked in. I mean, it's not really complete, but I wanted to check in what I used for the demo also at KubeCon. So I have continued working on it a bit, but not yet updated the PR. So a few things I'm wondering. I mean, a lot of questions arise when I'm looking at these things, because I wonder how it's going on. So how to handle HTTP requests that do not contain an event. Just putting the request somehow. Yeah. So how this could be handled, or also if a function wants to make explicit use of HTTP, like setting status codes or looking at header attributes and all these things. Another thing, so there are other places to adjust, like the event sender.go file you mentioned also in your comment, Andres.
Yes.
So right now the logic is always if something, some message comes in via Kafka, for example, or NUTS, that a Kafka or a NUTS event is created. But the use case for cloud events is actually that Kafka or other brokers are used to propagate events in an infrastructure and then expose them to functions. So the messages already would contain cloud events. So I'm just wondering how we will proceed in that direction. But that's probably beyond the scope of this PR, just giving an outlook. So I want to continue to do those adjustments you proposed, Andres. Maybe not for all the runtimes, but you already offered to help there. So yeah, just continuing these things.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yes, let us know if there is something specific that you want to discuss. For example, I think if the event, I mean, if the request doesn't have the necessary headers or the structure to be a cloud events, we can leave the different fields empty or something like that.
Yeah, so there is the content type also for just the event that might be interesting for Kafka messages. Wondering what to set then there. I think it's an optional field in the standard right now, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, this thing about the Kubernetes API access for every incoming event, that's something I think that should be removed somehow. So I wonder if it's, as you suggested, it might be an option to get rid of the configurability of the service port and just require it to be a certain port, as it's part of the interface definition of a function runtime, basically. So it would reduce complexity, I think. But
yes, this was something that was requested from a user.
Oh, okay.
Some time ago, but I think it's no longer required. And in any case, we can evaluate this because if someone requires to be using a specific port, he can just create a different service or something like that.
So it's just, I mean, if you solve this via caching, then you have to deal with cache updates somehow.
Yes, yeah,
and then,
it will be more complex.
Yeah, and I just wonder if it's worth it for this specific feature. And on the other hand, if you imagine 1,000 Kafka messages floating in, and for each one you would do this API request to get the port, it's also not very performing, I would suppose.
Yeah, I think it doesn't make sense. Probably you should use some caching here. Right. So yeah, let's open a issue for that. I think that's a very valid point.
Okay, so that's, I think, all about this PR right now. I'm trying to get some additional work done on it, but I'm again multitasking on a lot of things right now.
Okay. So yeah, if you can open a different issue just to evaluate the removal of the port.
Yes.
I think that's fine.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. So I think that's all about the open pull request because well, yeah, this one, the code wrapper. For the moment, I think we can land this as it is. Well, let me give a quick update for the video. I'm proposing here to have a Golang wrapper around the runtimes that are not complete, like for example Ruby that doesn't have support for Prometheus x86, Basically, adding this column wrapper on top of the native runtime allows you to have out of the box and without having to implement anything all these features. It is useful because it's going to be much easier. Well, at least a little bit more easy to add new runtimes. So we have a little bit of a discussion here for the architecture. Right now is we have this Golang process that will fork another process in order to run this native runtime. But we could do the same using two different sidecar containers and redirecting the same request through local hosts. The problem with that is that the Golang let's say sidecar container, the one that is redirecting the requests, it will be difficult for him to kill the other container because if it is behaving funny and I don't know if it has an infinite loop or something like that, that is something that will break the function. In that case, it's going to be difficult for the other container to kill it.
That's why.
Go ahead.
That's why I suggested this way using the health check. I'm aware that it's not possible, or at least not in a clean and secure way possible for the sidecar to kill another container in the pod. So if you would route the health check for the function container to the sidecar, and it would say I'm sick or not respond, then the kubelet would get rid of the misbehaving function. So that was the idea behind it.
But we will have that out of the box, and so that's fine. So let's that is a little bit more of a complex solution here. So let's merge this one, and we can open a different issue to improve this, having two different isolated containers. Are you okay with that, Klaus?
Well, yes. I mean, as a starting point, that's fine. I like the idea of this Go wrapper. So maybe I will suggest to take it further in the future, but I think it's a good starting point.
Okay, sure. So yeah, that's now for real. That's all I wanted to highlight. So maybe Murali, if you want to give us a quick demo of the Java.
Yeah. Oh, you want on Java runtime?
Or Kinesis or
yeah. Let me. So you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
So I'll just give a quick update on Java. I mean, it's adding support was little bit tedious in the sense because of the way Java arcane way of the way the project has to be laid out and the way Maven works. But in the end, yeah, it works. You could use Maven to install dependencies just like Codep or any other language. So the functionality wise, it works fine. So there are a couple of improvements that I have postponed it to. I'll work on it maybe in next week or so. But otherwise, yeah, functionality works right now. You could just submit any function with dependencies and just specify the POM file and you can just execute them. Regarding Kinesis, yeah, this is something that I've been working for the last few days. I just updated the choices that I've made, the progress on the integration. Kinesis would be something relatively a different event source that probably will be adding into the Kubeless for various reasons. First, it's unlike Kafka and NATS, it's a real-time streaming service. So you could expect there's no limit on the number of records that get pushed to the stream. So it could be millions of records per second. The way it's designed is you could horizontally scale, like it has a notion of shards. So under the stream, you could have something like multiple queues under which you could specify a key using that key as a way to shard the traffic into multiple buckets. So, and there's one more challenge is the kinesis in specific, it doesn't notify. So the client has to poll for the records in the stream. That's one issue. And the other design issue is this is something that we have discussed earlier when we are doing the refactoring. So we have this controller which potentially is a mix of both control path and data path as of now, where it deals with every event source. Suppose in case of, let's say in case of NAT, so I can specify 10 triggers with different topics. The same pod is listening to all these 10 event sources and trying to relay or proxy those messages to the function service. In case of Kinesis, each user have a different IAM or authentication authorization are basically credentials to access Kinesis. So one way is to use something like Cube2 IAM, which will inject the necessary tokens into the pod, but it doesn't work because we can expect Kubeless to be running an on-premise cluster, access the Kinesis stream, munch the data and push the result to somewhere else. So that's ruled out. So basically it boils down to the using Kubernetes secrets. So just read the secrets from where you get the EC2 credentials and read the records. Yeah, this is something I still don't know how this will work. Basically, the shards in the stream itself are dynamically scalable. You could start with one shard, but at the runtime, you could scale it to 10 shards, 50 shards. So at this time, I'll just show you the specification for the Kinesis, but I just kept it simple. But as I get more insight into the typical Kinesis integration, I'll enhance it. Yes, the other thing is polling is something that has to be fine-tuned. Too aggressive polling or too relaxed polling, both of which is not ideal. So I'll have to test and fine-tune what is the ideal polling time. Yeah, so let me give it. So it's just like the struct.
Can you increase the font size?
Yeah.
Better, thank you.
Yeah, code structure-wise, it's pretty much similar to NATS or Kafka. So there is it's pretty much same. You write JSON-net and which result in YAML file. So basically you have a deployment, then the RBACs for that. That's pretty much it. So, okay, let me. So as you can see, I have this is a Kinesis trigger that's newly added. So let me deploy a function. Okay, it's already exists. So this is a new CLI for the Kinesis. So let me quickly run through the parameters. The function name is just like the way NATS or Kafka. These are
It seems that, I mean, is Murali frozen for you as well?
Yes.
I just ping him. He's going to join back.
Okay. Okay. In the meantime, I forgot to mention something. And well, right now you saw that we have Java just recently added to the available runtimes, and we also have two different .NET languages provided by the community. So the number of languages that we're receiving is growing quite a bit, and it is becoming not scalable from a Kubeless development point of view. And I have been thinking about it, and I opened an issue there to propose to split the runtimes out of the Kubeless repository into a different one, and have an approach similar to Helm charts, in which you can configure in Kubeless where is the repository that you want to use to load the different runtimes, and having an incubator and a stable set of runtimes, in which we can, for the stables one, we can use the ones that are already merged in master and that are already stable. And we can allow people to do pull requests and add new runtimes in the incubator state. And I think that would be easier for them to add new runtimes, and also it allows us to decouple the development of Kubeless from the development of different runtimes. So if yeah, I will send the issue later on, and if you can take a look and give your feedback, it would be great. Sorry, Morelli, I was giving an update of an open issue that I just added about splitting the runtimes. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected. Let me. Yeah, so so this is the stream to listen for the events, and the secret would give the EC2 credentials. Yeah, so yeah, basically it's a standard spec with details on the reason in which the stream and the function associated, the shard ID from where the stream records need to be needed, and finally the stream name itself. Yeah, so let me. Yeah, there's some errors, but basically, yeah, so the controller is trying to read and pass the messages. So yeah, still it's not in, there are some edge cases, like I mentioned, it's a stream, unlike Kafka and NATS, where you get the message in the queue, you read it and it gets disposed. Unlike that, in stream, the records itself are persisted, so you need to keep the pointer from where you need to read the records from the stream. So I'm just clearing up things. I should be able to raise a PR by tomorrow. But in essence, yeah, the experience wise, yeah, this is basically it.
Okay, that's great. So I think that with that we ran out of time. So if you want to raise something, now is the time. Not anything else. Okay, so that's all. Probably we will got a new release, the alpha.3, I think. tomorrow or on next Monday to include all these new features, or the ones that at least the runtimes. And that's all. Thank you for assisting.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.